Hello everybody, this is my twin trunk Larch fusion project. It's a bit different to some of the other fusion projects I've done in that it's only two trees being fused together to make one twin trunk tree rather than lots of small trees being fused together to make one large one. Put this together first 4 years ago, and you can go back and look at how the trees looked separately in the first video of the playlist featuring this particular project. I'll put a link to that in the description and on an end card. But let's give you a quick 360 as to where we are at the moment, and we can look at where we're going from there. I was going to repot this tree this year, but I've left it too late. As you can see, the buds have sprouted out, really well developed, and yeah, I'm not going to try risking repotting it. I've also had a dig round and still no fusion, it would appear to me. Not entirely. There's a ring tourniquet a couple inches deep in this pot, which I'm hoping will not only cause the trees to fuse together, but cause the production of roots above for a nice flat root plate. But I can see the wire, and that hasn't happened yet either. So it's going to stay in this pot for another year. I may repot it next year. I think I will repot it next year if I don't leave it too late again. And I think at that point I may have to reduce the roots in the bottom, because I'm fairly certain that the bottom of the pot is full of roots even if the top isn't. Okay, so this is my perceived front. I've no idea, as I say, the roots haven't cooperated yet. They haven't formed above that tourniquet, so I have no idea what they're going to look like. But I'm growing this tree with the intention that this is my front. I like this swoop of this trunk away from this one, and I've got a bit of infill here. So yeah, I'm rather liking this tree at the minute, but it does need some work on some of these branches. It's been tempting to just leave it to grow, and maybe I would have got fusion by now if I had, but I have the beginnings of some form of structure here that I rather like at the moment, that I wouldn't have had at this point. So let's crack on and look at what I'm going to be doing. First thing I want to do is look at this low branch. It does seem very low at the moment, but if the roots form where I want them to, then it'll be a good 2 inches higher in the pot. And if I don't like it at that point, then it can come off and it will have done its job as a kind of sacrifice branch. So what I do want to do is look at some of these wayward shoots. We have some shoots like this that are going up and across, and I just want to remove some of those. This is just going to be a general tidy up. I probably should have done this in the earlier in the spring or even in the autumn. But you can see I have a branch here that's coming out directly from the trunk and sweeping down into this branch, and if I turn the tree slightly, you can see there are 3 branches coming out of the trunk in the same place, which obviously I don't want. So I'm going to remove this upper one like so. There's another one coming out from below just there as well, so we'll get rid of that. Any of these that are going upwards, just going to lose. I'm not going to wire this branch down. As I say, at this point I have no idea whether I even want to keep it. So it's just a question of trimming it somewhat, bringing the tree back into a little bit of scale. this piece comes out and goes at a 90-degree angle from the rest of the tree, so I'm going to shorten that piece back, and those pieces also. In fact, I'm going to keep that thinner piece and lose that fatter piece altogether. Wrong tool, right tool. Boom. So that's tidied up that little section. I'm going to lose that piece there. So it's starting to interfere with this branch. There's lots of extra pieces coming off this branch, all from this trunk, which I don't want, don't need, and they can be lost now rather than getting bigger scars later. Okay, so that's looking better. Okay, so I don't like this piece. It's kind of growing back out across the trunk line. So I'm going to shorten that right back to a bud, and I'm also going to shorten this piece that's growing straight up. That piece that's growing down. Okay, got a very long, very straight piece there. So I'm going to cut that back to a bud. Similarly there. I can actually get away with cutting this tree back quite hard because the roots aren't being disturbed. It will have lots of energy to throw out lots of shoots. And larch can be very forgiving trees anyway, so they don't mind being pruned fairly hard, in my experience. Odd branches in odd places can come off. Yeah, it's a right old jumbled mess really. I don't want to shorten this back too much, because I like the way it's filling in this section of the tree. But I don't want too many dead straight pieces either, so I'm just cutting back to a bud that's pointing in the right direction that I want, and hopefully we'll get some more ramification in the right direction, not in the wrong direction, and the tree will look better for it. This branch, I don't like this piece. It's not an eye poker. It's good, it's coming in this direction, it's helping to fill out that section of the tree, but I don't like this piece that's then going back again, so I'm going to cut that off. And also that. There's a piece going downwards there. I said I wasn't going to wire this tree, but I think I might put a few pieces on in a few places just to bring things into just a little bit into line. This piece, for example, I'd like to bring it down just a little bit, and this piece I'd like to bring down and back. as I said, I'm not worried about this one at the present. Okay, so continuing on, this back branch, it's got a couple of silly little wayward pieces. We'll lose those. Dead straight piece there, and a piece sticking up there. As I say, some of what I'm doing may inhibit the trees fusing, growing those roots out over the tourniquet, but I don't want this tree to get too out of hand at the same point either. So you paid your money, it takes your choice. I know some people will disagree with me and say, you know, you're better off letting it grow out, but you know, I have to do what I feel is right for my tree at the time, and there's no right way or wrong way. Probably, definitely, there's no right way or wrong way. Okay, so another dead straight piece there, and indeed there. So that's it for this particular trunk. I am going to throw a piece of wire onto that piece and to that piece, so let me get some wire. Fortunately, larch are very bendable trees, very pliable, so I'm going to anchor this piece of wire with this branch, and then I'm going to bring it up under that one, trying not to catch any of these shoots. Okay, so that'll just bring that back ever so slightly, like so. Maybe I could move that one into that area, but I'm not going to, because I want to keep, I may lose this branch, so no, I'm going to keep that one there for the time being. Okay, slightly lighter gauge of wire, I think, for this branch. Apologies, my neighbours have just started strimming by the sound of it. Okay, so that just brings that down and back slightly. Make sure the wire's anchored, that looks better. Okay, so just a little bit more in that direction. Perfect. Okay, so I'm happy with that, apart from I have a stub just there. Not to lose that. Okay, so one issue I've got here is this branch is much thinner than this one at the back, which is a bit of a nuisance because you don't normally see that in an old tree. Usually the lowest branches are the oldest branches, and in consequence they're usually the fatter branches, but that's the situation I have at the moment. So I'm going to turn this tree there. I'm going to cut this one back. I've got a lot of branches going in the wrong direction anyway, so I'm going to cut that back. Lose these ones that are going upwards, and there's a stub there. That's going back in the wrong direction. So yeah, I'm going to cut this one back more, and keep it trimmed back whilst the other branch will be allowed to grow more unimpeded, and hopefully fatten up a little bit. Let's remove that piece. Right, I'm going to remove that whole section. There, and shorten this one back. That's, yeah. Okay, so that's better. Whilst I have to trim this plane. Okay, going to move, just shorten back some of these long straight pieces. Take off that entire piece there. Okay, don't like that piece going downwards like that. A few dead stubs to remove. Quite a lot of dead stubs to remove actually. Okay, so that's looking a bit better. You can get away with a bit more length, as it were, at the back, because you're trying to get a three-dimensional shape as possible. And obviously if you look at it in this particular plane, show you out a little bit more. Obviously the tree could be viewed as being very two-dimensional again. And that's where your extra branches will come in, and those at the back can help considerably. We've got two branches growing one above the other, so I'm going to take out the one that displeases me the most, as it were. And I'm going to shorten this apex, because at the moment I don't have that triangular sort of canopy. I'm not sure what shape you would call it, but it's not triangular, and that's what I'm aiming for. Obviously, it doesn't have to be a perfect triangle, but it does need to be more triangular than what I've got at the minute. It'd be nice to get some more back budding here, because again I've got quite a chunky branch there in comparison to some of the ones below. So the best I can hope is to cut it back quite hard, and hope that it will indeed induce some back budding in this area. Okay, so, and then this lower branch I'm actually going to leave alone. As I said, I want this branch to fatten up, so I'm just going to let all these branches grow, even the ones that are pointing in the wrong direction, and then hopefully that'll induce some good fattening here and make this branch look more in scale with the rest of the tree. Okay, I don't like this kind of dual apex here. So I'm going to lose this piece and keep this as the apex, coming back, sweeping back in. So it's going to go, before I change my mind, just nibble my way back, leaving some of these branches that will become a side branch in this plane, but losing this one. Okay. Again, I've got kind of two branches, one above the other there. I'm going to lose the top one. That's better. Okay, so that's it for this tree. That's all the work I'm going to do. Unless I spot something off camera later and I trim a little bit, but I try not to do that. Now you see I've spotted a bit I've missed, which is just there. And no, that's just a piece I've already chopped off. Okay, so as you can see, I just can't help myself sometimes. What am I going to do with this tree now? It's going to go back on the bench. I'm going to take off about 1 inch of the soil and give it some controlled release fertilizer, cover it back up over, and then it's just going to be left on the bench and allowed to grow wild until the autumn, and then perhaps we'll come back and have another look at it and see how it's doing then. In the meantime, let's give you a quick 360. It's a bit two-dimensional in this plane, but if I see anyone standing looking at it from that direction, I'll just tell them to move away. Alrighty, thank you for watching, and please stay safe and do take care of yourselves.